Well, hello, hello. It is so nice to see your eager to learn faces again. Welcome back for part 2 of our new DMV question series, where we will go over the top 10 hardest new questions. Okay, let's not waste any time and get right back into action. But first, a little exercise for us to do together. Go ahead and raise your right hand and stretch it all the way towards that like button and give it a nice easy click. Great. And now with your other hand, carefully reach towards that subscribe button and give it a gentle tap. Perfect. And just like that, we're warmed up and ready to absorb some essential DMV knowledge, starting with the oh-so-fresh DMV test question, number 10. To turn left from a one-way street onto a one-way street, you should start your turn from A, any lane, B, the lane closest to the left curb, or C, the lane in the center of the road. The correct answer is B, the lane closest to the left curb. More than 12 out of 100 test takers get this wrong by answering C, the lane in the center of the road. And while this is true when turning from a two-way street, this question is all about one-way streets. So when taking your test, it may help to visualize the question. When making a left turn, always start your turn from the leftermost, extreme left-hand lane that is available to traffic moving in your direction. On a one-way street, this would be the far left lane. On a two-way street, it would be the leftmost lane closest to the center divider line or the left turn lane if available. Anyways, there's only one way to answer this question about turning from a one-way onto a one-way, and it's B, the lane closest to the left curb. Question number 9. Which of the following is true about road signs? A, regulatory signs and warning signs must be obeyed. B, warning signs and informational signs must be obeyed. Or C, regulatory signs must be obeyed, but not warning signs. The correct answer is A, regulatory signs and warning signs must be obeyed. Regulatory signs like speed limit and stop signs communicate many important rules you must obey. Warning signs like stop ahead and school zone signs alert you to upcoming road conditions you must prepare for. Whatever type of road sign you encounter, just know that the DMV handbook yells at you in bolded letters that you must obey all warning signs regardless of their shape or color. Question number 8. Treat lines as a barrier when A, 2 sets of solid double white lines are spaced 2 feet apart. B, 2 sets of solid double yellow lines are spaced 2 or more feet apart. Or C, 2 sets of broken yellow lines are spaced 1 foot apart. The correct answer is B, 2 sets of solid double yellow lines are spaced 2 or more feet apart. So first of all, what is a barrier? Well, in the simplest sense, a road barrier is any physical object that separates lanes of traffic. Common barriers include guardrails, concrete walls, orange construction barrels, or center medians or islands. Whenever you come across 2 sets of solid double yellow lines that are spaced 2 or more feet apart, so basically 4 solid yellow lines like in this picture, you need to pretend that this is a barrier that you can never cross over. Just like you would never drive into a guardrail or through a concrete wall, don't drive over the 4 solid yellow lines. Almost 1 out of 6 incorrectly answered 2 sets of solid double white lines are spaced 2 feet apart. And while you should avoid driving over sets of solid white lines as well, the DMV handbook only mentions 1 set of double solid white lines, which indicate a lane barrier between a regular use lane and a preferential use lane, such as a carpool or HOV lane. It does not refer to 2 sets of solid double white lines. Cool? Cool. Question number 7. What should a driver do at a crosswalk with flashing lights? A, make eye contact with the pedestrians and then pass them. B, always stop. Or C, look for pedestrians and be prepared to stop. The correct answer is C, look for pedestrians and be prepared to stop. A crosswalk is a designated safe zone on the road for pedestrians to cross. Usually you'll spot it with those trusty white striped lines, but at school crossings, they might switch things up with yellow lines. Now here's the kicker. Not every crosswalk gets the same paint treatment. Some come with flashy lights instead of, or in addition to, the painted lines. No matter the style, whether it's lines, lights, or both, remember this golden rule. Keep an eagle eye out for pedestrians. Always be ready to hit the brakes if someone's about to make their way across. When it comes to pedestrians, it's safety first, second, and third. Question number 6. You want to make a right turn at an upcoming intersection. You should slow down and A. Move toward the right side of your lane, B. Avoid driving in the bicycle lane, or C. Signal for 5 feet before turning. The correct answer is A. Move toward the right side of your lane. Astonishingly, a whopping 25% of students are answering this one wrong with C. Signal for 5 feet before turning. To make any turn, you need to signal at least 100 feet before you turn. That is way more than 5 feet. And think about it. Some people are about 5 feet tall. So you're telling me you'd only signal a person length away before turning? That's just crazy talk. The clear winner here is A. Move toward the right side of your lane, because it's precisely what you want to do before making a right turn. By shifting to the right side of your lane, you're making sure no sneaky cars try to slip past you on the right while you're making your turn. Plus, if the road's wide enough, the cars going straight behind you can zoom on by safely while you prepare for your right turn. Yay! Question number 5. Which of these vehicles must stop before crossing railroad tracks? A. School buses. B. Sport utility vehicles carrying 4 or more persons. Or C. Pickup trucks towing a trailer. The correct answer is A. School buses. When approaching railroad crossings, be cautious of vehicles that must stop before they cross railroad tracks. Those larger vehicles like buses and school buses, and those marked with hazardous material placards, have to stop at railroad crossings for safety reasons. Here's why. Buses and school buses. These vehicles are larger and often carry a lot of passengers, including children. Stopping before the tracks ensures that they can check for any oncoming trains and cross safely without any unexpected surprises. Hazardous materials placarded vehicles. These vehicles are carrying materials that can be dangerous if there's an accident. Stopping before the railroad tracks allows them to ensure the tracks are clear and that it's safe to proceed, therefore reducing the risk of spills or accidents involving hazardous materials. I don't know about you, but that makes total sense to me. Question number 4. Roadways are least slippery, A. on bridges in freezing temperatures, B. after it has been raining for a while, or C. during the first rain after a dry spell. The correct answer is B. after it has been raining for a while. This question can be a bit of a brain teaser, especially because it asks about the least slippery condition. And the right answer is after it has been raining for a while. Here's the truth. When it's been raining for a bit, most of the oil and dust on the road have been washed away. That's why it's the least slippery of the options. Now, the other 2 answers might seem tempting, but they're actually describing conditions that can be pretty darn slippery. Bridges and overpasses. These areas freeze up faster than regular roads, and they can hide sneaky patches of ice, making them more slippery. Right when it starts to rain. Yep, the first rain, especially after a dry spell, can be quite slippery. That's because the rain mixes with the oil and dust on the road, and then it creates a slick surface. So while it might seem counterintuitive, after it has been raining for a while is your best bet for a less slippery road condition. Question number 3. What is the recommended hand position on the steering wheel? A. 10 and 2, B. 9 and 3, or C. 12 and 6. The correct answer is B. 9 and 3. This is a tricky one because the DMV used to promote 10 and 2 hand positions for the best steering control. And generally speaking, DMV examiners really just cared that drivers kept both hands on opposite sides of the wheel. So 10 and 2, 9 and 3, 8 and 4, they were all acceptable, depending on the driver's preference, the size of the steering wheel, etc. However, the technique for proper placement of your hands on the steering wheel has evolved over the years, with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or the NHTSA, now recommending the techniques known as 9 and 3 and 8 and 4 due to the added safety they provide from potential airbag injuries. Now, if we turn to the California DMV handbook, we see that these NHTSA steering wheel recommendations have made their way here too. Under the section Controlling the Vehicle, DMV says, to control your vehicle, it is critical to keep both hands on the wheel whenever possible. And then they list 2 recommendations for dual hand steering. For hand-to-hand steering, known as push-pull steering, the DMV says to start with your hands at 9 and 3 o'clock or 8 and 4 o'clock. For hand-over-hand steering, the DMV says to start with your hands at 8 and 4 o'clock. Anyhow, if steering wheel hand positions come up on your DMV test, now you'll be better equipped to get this one right. Question number 2. Dim your high beam headlights to low beams within blank feet when a vehicle is coming towards you. A, 200, B, 300, or C, 500. The correct answer is C, 500. When another vehicle is coming toward you, it's crucial to switch from high beam to low beam headlights within 500 feet. This helps everyone see better and avoid blinding each other at night. This is another one of those tough DMV questions that you're just going to have to memorize. It's especially hard because 2 of the answers, 300 and 500, are both numbers you need to remember concerning when to turn off your high beams. As this question states, you must dim your lights to low beams within 500 feet of a vehicle coming toward you. But then there's a very similar DMV question that states that you must dim your high beams to low beams within 300 feet of a vehicle you are following. My best advice is this. Know that both 300 and 500 feet are distances you need to memorize for high beam questions. Then use a little common sense to know which distance applies to oncoming vehicles, 500 feet, and which one applies to vehicles you are following, 300 feet. It makes sense that you turn off your high beams earlier for oncoming cars because they are rushing towards you and will be blinded by your lights much more quickly. So just remember that the bigger distance of 500 feet is for oncoming vehicles racing towards you. And here we are, folks, the last but not least of our new DMV questions. Well, it actually is the least correctly answered. So please pay attention, take notes, draw diagrams, and use your calculator if you have to, or just memorize it. That's probably much simpler. So without further ado, hardest new question number 1. A person convicted of reckless driving or engaging in a speed contest that causes injury to another person is subject to A, imprisonment and or fine, B, community service, or C, all of the above. And the correct answer for this one is A, imprisonment and or fine. According to the DMV handbook, a person convicted of reckless driving or engaging in a speed contest that causes injury to another person is subject to imprisonment, a fine, or both. A walloping 58% of test takers choose wrong answer C, all of the above. And I can see why. It seems reasonable that a driver who recklessly drives and hurts someone should be fined, imprisoned, and do community service. But alas, the DMV makes it clear that this bad driving behavior will solely subject you to financial penalties and or some hard time behind bars. Perhaps their stance is to ensure that serious consequences aren't avoided through community service. If you're racing or intentionally driving dangerously and end up injuring someone, some jail time and financial consequences seems a more appropriate punishment than just being forced to pick up a little trash on the side of the road. But that's just me. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Whew, that was a whole lot of DMV test material to digest. And anytime I finish feasting on the rolls of the road, I need to take a little nap. So before I turn in for a little shut-eye, just know that I wish you all the sweetest of driver's ed dreams. And more importantly, I wish you the best on your upcoming driver's license exam. From Liz and all the fine folks here at Driver's Ed Direct, sleep tight and please stay safe out there.